Hello friends and welcome back to my session. I am Dr. Priya Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Jamia Millia Islamia. In our last session we discussed about ecotourism and today we will be talking about rural tourism. So, in our session today, we will be discussing about the various definitions of rural tourism. We will talk about the forms and the types of rural tourism, various activities that are included in the rural tourism, what is the importance of rural tourism and the benefits of rural tourism. Also, we will talk about some of the characteristics of rural tourism, the challenges and the issues that are faced in rural tourism, and also about the rural tourism development. So, here we begin. If we want to define rural tourism, then it's very apparent and clear that rural tourism is discussed as the movement of people to the areas which are very natural. Natural in the scenery, natural in sense that they are away from the hustle and bustle, and they are basically the people who want to escape, move to such areas, and they spend their time doing leisure activities. This is also a way of de-stressing themselves and they feel rejuvenated and refreshed. Some of the researchers have also talked about and they have given some wonderful definitions of rural tourism. Paism has said that rural tourism is about a country vacation where the tourist spends the vast proportion of their vacations and spends some time engaging in the rural environment, maybe in a farm or in some countryside home, and also he spends his time within the nature, spending the time in the lap of the nature. Similarly, according to Darnoy, rural tourism might be conceived as a tourist activities in a non-urban territories where the human activity is going on primarily agriculture basis and it is a permanent human presence which qualifies the requirements. So, there is something like he has to escape from the normal urban life and the person is going to spend some time with the nature and also at the rural areas, which is more of related to the countryside or the village areas. The Council of Europe has also employed that the term rural area is something which is just and stretch of inland or the coastal countryside, which says that the rural area can also include something like forestry, agriculture and also fisheries. So, these are some of the activities that one can have while he is basically taking up the rural tourism as his choice. And rural tourism should also be always known as something that a person wants to do when he is really busy or when he wants to be just away from the hustle and bustle of the city or the daily monotony of his urban life. So, he tries and tends to escape that and he moves to the rural setup. Now, even the OECD states rural tourism should be. They have given certain parameters that what the rural tourism should be actually. So, they say that rural tourism can only be done in the areas which is actually located in rural areas. So, it cannot be that we create any site in between the city or in the urban infrastructure. There has to be a place which is in the setup of the rural area. It has to be in the outskirts of the city as well. Functionally, it should be rural. That means it should be having some special features. There should be some traditional society setup, some heritage, the natural world heritage and also the traditional practices. Then only it will be called as rural tourism. Also, it should be rural in scale. That means both in terms of building as well as the settlements, and therefore it should be even small scale. Rural tourism cannot be very broad. It has to be started with a very small limitations and at a small or a very minute levels. Then traditional in character, it is all about that we have to really link something that is being organic, and also it should be connected with the culture of the local families or the host communities. That is what we go there and we experience something that is very ethnic and authentic. then it has to be very much sustainable, of course. In our last session also we discussed what is sustainability. Like, it is something about exploiting the present resources in a way that we even preserve them for the future generations. So rural tourism always gives us that leverage that we can have the resources utilized and harnessed in such a way that we can even have our generations to come and appreciate that later on in future. So rural tourism should always be sustainable. It should not be causing any harm to the environment. Now we will discuss about various forms of rural tourism. What are various forms and types of rural tourism? Rural tourism is an umbrella. It incorporates different types and different forms of tourism. Like, it showcases something like rural life, art, culture and heritage at rural locations. Also, it will benefit the local community economically because everybody will be involved in that business. So it will be definitely helping the local community also to grow if they are involved in rural tourism. And it also helps to enrich tourism experiences for the person who, or for the tourist who is going for a rural tourism. A variety of terms can be there if we talk about the types or the form of tourism. Like, we have agri-tourism, we have farm tourism, rural tourism, we can have alternative tourism, eco-tourism, and there are several others. So we will be discussing them one by one. The first and foremost is agri-tourism. What is agri-tourism? It is related to the tourism products which are directly connected with the agrarian environment. That means something like staying at the farms, whether in the rooms or in the camps, having educational visits to the farm, meals, doing recreational activities, and the sale of the farm product. Like you can see in the picture itself, they are all in the tea garden. So visiting a tea garden in itself is something like, we can say that it is an agri-tourism. So it is an example of agri-tourism. Or if you visit an apple orchard and you go and do some fruit picking, maybe you pick up some blueberries from a farm. So that is also an example of agri-tourism. Sometimes even the tourists are very keen to know how the plants are grown. Like, we have something wherein we have vineyards. So people go to see the vineyards, how the grapes are cultivated, and then how they mature and how the wine is prepared. So that is also an example, a very unique example of agri-tourism. And even in India, in Nasik, we are doing that very well. Then we have something called as farm tourism, that is somewhere related to agri-tourism, and farm related are the most usually associated with tourism. It involves like staying in the accommodation and seeking from the farms. It is something that we have a farmhouse in the lush green area and we spend a night there, or we spend a weekend there. So we are going as a farm tourism. There also we appreciate the nature, we appreciate the nearby farms or the areas wherein there are some small gardens, fruit cultivated, or some small gardens are there. So we really tell that this is a farm tourism. So this is very closely related to the agri-tourism as well. Now there is something called as wilderness and forest tourism. Now tourist also is very keen and very close to nature, and they are in love with animals and also the natural beauty of the rural area. So this is the tourism wherein the tourist explores the wilderness and the natural beauty of the rural area. It may be said that with the notion of the rural tourism, it can be regarded as a separate tourism also, but it even goes hand in hand with the wildlife tourism and the rural tourism, wherein we have certain activities like wild photography, we have safari, we can have bird watching, we can have trekking and hiking. Like you can see in the picture also, the animals are there and the tourist is enjoying the ride of the animal. So this is also a very good example of forest tourism. Or you go for jungle safaris in any national parks or wildlife sanctuaries, or you go for engage yourself in some type of a bird watching. So that is also an example of a wilderness and a forest tourism. So all these together constitute such type of tourism, and these are all the wings of, we can say, of the rural tourism in itself. Then we have something called as green tourism. This is very important, and we just discussed the glimpse of it even in our last session, wherein it was said that this form of tourism is primarily involved with such activities which are not causing any harm to tourists, and also they are not causing any harm to the environment. That means they are indulging somewhere wherein they are not harming the environment as well as the setup for a tourist accommodation. So these are the activities wherein there are environmental friendly activities takes place, and they are also for the areas like we have symbiotic relationships with the physical and social environment, and we try to indulge in the activities which are green in nature, like we stop the use of plastic, or somewhere we do not use any chemicals for cleaning the accommodation, or somewhere we have solar panels attached. So these are all examples of green tourism, and villages or rural tourism these days are very efficiently adapting this green tourism, and they are showcasing a successful green tourism setup. You can see in the pictures also, like I have written, there is water droplets, there is emission of CO2 that we need to cut on this. We need to really work on the water harvesting. We need to use all renewable energies for our consumptions. So this is all about the green tourism. Then we have something called as ecotourism. We had already discussed this, that what is ecotourism. Ecotourism is a very common word, and it can also be called as nature-based tourism. That's somewhere which assumes that there is an active promotion of environmental conversations and also direct benefits for local societies, wherein we are having some educative experiences also, and we are spending lot of time with the nature. Ecotourism is a group of activities which are also sustainable in nature, and they always occur in a natural surroundings. So this type of tourism, or this form of tourism, cannot happen in isolation or cannot happen in urban setups. This has to be done in a natural setup, and it has to be done in the lap of the nature. So this is called as ecotourism. Like when we go to enjoy the waterfalls, or we are indulging in some adventure sports activities like rafting, paragliding, scuba diving, these are all forms of ecotourism as well. Now there are certain types of rural tourism activities also, that there is a group or setup of activities which will be done when a person takes rural tourism. Like the rural environment has a long history of being managed for recreational purposes. Initially it was done for recreational purposes. Nowadays people are making it more experiential. People are trying to go there, educate themselves, they want to learn something, and they even want to have new experiences. So this is coming up as a new range now, and rural activities are very wide. A range of tourism and recreational activities can be found, and they are basically categorized on the basis of their nature. So we will study them one by one. These are the types of rural activities. The first and foremost is touring. What is touring? Touring includes the various tourism activities like hiking, horse riding. It can be touring in gypsy caravans, motorized touring, some type of sightseeings for the village or town touring, even cycling to the places, adventure holidays, or wilderness touring. So these all activities that we have just talked are part of rural tourist activities. So if one goes to a setup or a destination which is a rural tourist destination, then that person will be indulged in all these types of activities. The second type of rural tourism activity are the cultural tourism activities. It's not only that one will go and appreciate the nature or the infrastructure or just the cycling or touring, but one has to also appreciate the culture. The culture of rural areas will be new, and the culture of rural areas will be very authentic. So these will be found in rural areas. Like we will also talk about archaeologies in that areas, the restoration sites or the rural heritage sites in that case, the museums, the various types of crafts. We also talk about the artistic expressions of the workshops that are being done. Even people showcase that how the things can be done there. That is also a part of culture rural tourism activities, that we go there and learn and appreciate the culture of any particular rural destination, that how the things are being done. Suppose how a particular fruit is cultivated, how a particular type of cuisine is basically made, how that food is being cooked in using the some types of rural means and technologies basically. So that will all be a type of culture tourism activity. It will also talk about how people are dressed, the way they are carrying themselves. That will also be a part of culture tourism activity. Then we have something which is called as water related activities of rural tourism. What if we are going to a destination which is a rural tourist destination and it has some water bodies also? So definitely we will be doing something called as fishing. We can engage ourselves in swimming. We can do something called as river tourism. There's a lot of scope for canoeing and kayaking. There's also something like windsurfing, speedboat racing, sailing. These, you might be wondering that these are also parts of adventure tourism, but yes, of course, these are all part of adventure tourism. But when we are discussing about the activities that we take up in a rural tourism destinations, then these also can come together, because we have some water related activities of rural tourism also. And these activities are only possible in a destination which has good amount and appreciable type of water bodies. We cannot have it in the land based rural destinations. We have to have some water bodies or the water destinations for that reason. Then a variety of sporting activities are also form of rural activities, wherein one can engage themselves in rural areas. One can do the rock climbing, people can play tennis, some golf, even they can have some hunting, which is nowadays poaching is not allowed, but initially people used to do that. And downhill skiing also is a part of sporting activity. This will be wherein the tourist is willing to engage in some physical activities. Then he can definitely take up activities like sports, wherein you have to really work hard for doing the rock climbing, and these activities you will always need a trainer. You cannot do it very raw handed, or you cannot be doing it on your own. So we do have the guides there, we do have the instructors and the full-fledged trainers there to help you to play the golf, to learn tennis, and to do the rock climbing, or basically the downhill skiing. So these are also the part of rural tourism activities. Then we may also have something called as health related activities. Now in health related activities we may have fitness training. Now the generation of millennials are very much willing to be very health freak, and they always want to be very fit. So they can engage this type of an activity, are purposely designed for such type of tourists who are very keen to have some good physical fitness. So they have fitness training, they have spa also, they can rejuvenate, enjoy some therapies, they can spend some time in health resorts, they can even enjoy some good food which is basically designed, the menu is customized for them. They can have their therapeutic diets, they can have their keto meals, they can have something which they will really relish, and it will also be beneficial for their health. So in health related activities they are involved in all these activities, and this will really give them a very worthy experience, and they will really love to come back to have such an healthy escape for in terms of tourism. Then there are certain activities which are passive activities, wherein we are not involving ourselves physically. We are just present there and we are just indulged in experiences. So such type of passive activities can be when we go with a purpose for the holidays just to relax. We go there, we relax there, we appreciate the nature, we simply do bird watching or some type of landscape photography, we appreciate the waterfalls, or we try to do landscape appreciations. So these are also some famous activity of rural tourism. Herein we are not involving ourselves much into any physical activity. We are trying to be more at the relaxed stage, and we are trying to be more saturated in that case, that we do not have to exert, we will be at ease. Because the main purpose and motivation of the tourist today is that he is already engaged and he is already fed up with the daily course of the life. So he wants some escape. For that reason, that person really want to go to destinations which can make him feel very light, which can make him feel relaxed in that sense, and he can just simply lie down, rest, and just appreciate the things around him. And moreover, when we talk of rural tourism, he would have lot of choices to appreciate nature, because rural tourism is always prospering in the setup of natural surroundings rather than infrastructure or any urban setups. Now we should definitely know about rural tourism, because rural tourism has been gaining so much importance in the coming time, and even it will be gaining lot of importance in future as well. So why is it important? We should really know that what are the advantages or the benefits of rural tourism. So rural tourism is very important form of emerging tourism these days. It plays a very important role and gives many benefits to the community. When tourists travel to rural areas, they support the local economy, of course, and helps in various ways. They try to support them financially also, and they try to appreciate their cultures also. Rural tourism also helps in the development of rural areas and living standards of the host communities. So we will just discuss the benefits. Some of the very common benefits of rural tourism are as, like you can see, it provides a source of income, an alternative income or employment for the people who are residing in the rural area. Their main aim can be farming, but they can definitely have a certain form of second income or an employment if the people are coming to appreciate them, buy their farm products, or to really know about and learn about their farm products, or they may be staying at their homestays, so they will have a secondary source of incomes. Also, rural tourism spurs the infrastructural development in rural areas. All the revenue that is coming from the rural tourism will be definitely spent for the development of the infrastructure. So in that sense, the rural areas can really be developed by the income or by the revenue generated from the tourist expenses that one do. Also, it helps to reduce the gender and other social power. When we promote rural tourism, there is no gender discrimination, and even the social powers are being upgraded. And definitely, it is also a biggest motivation for the collective community there. The community is really benefited. The host community or the local community there is very much encouraged to come up with lot of new opportunities, and they try to be very welcoming and promote their destination as a rural tourism. Also, we have something wherein people instill, they have local pride in them. They will have self-esteem and they will have a sense of identity wherein they will be recognized as a destination. So they feel really mesmerized and happy that okay, their destination is also being a popular rural destination today, and they will definitely be taking pride to represent themselves as the local community there. There will be lot of contribution towards the conservations and the protection of that particular area. There would be increase in the living standards of the local community. Then there would be reuse of the abandoned properties. This is very much in trend, that all the properties which are not in use currently or which can be abandoned, they can be beautifully renovated into different types of homestays, wherein people can stay also, and they can be having the authentic experience of food, dining, the culture, the local people around, so they can have a real wonderful experience staying in such properties. Also, there can be an opportunities for retaining the populations in that areas to have, otherwise there would be lot of experiencing depopulation, that everybody would be moving to the urban atmosphere or to the urban cities. So there would be a time when the entire rural area or a destination would be really depopulation would be done. So in order to encourage more of population, the tourist or the rural tourism is also adding a value advantage to that destination, that more of people are coming. There is an inflow of tourists coming. Then there are certain areas which can be repopulated, which have been really very scarce in the density of population. With the inflow and with the footfall of the tourist, there can be more population can be created to that particular areas. Okay, now we will discuss about the characteristics of a rural tourism. We have discussed the importance of rural tourism, but then there are certain traits of rural tourism as well. The concept of rural tourism has a noble cause. It is another kind of sustainable tourism that causes no or very little impact on the environment as well. It generates increasing benefits have towards the productivity, towards the employment, towards the wealth, towards the conservations of the rural environment and the culture, the local people's environment, and also there are certain ways of adapting the traditional beliefs and the values to the modern time. So these are some of the characteristics. Also, we can have the characteristics like we have seasonality. The rural tourism is something which is not only operational on any particular season, but it is operational throughout the season. But yes, of course, depending upon the climatic conditions, the flow of the tourists might fluctuate. They may have a low season and a high season as well. Then the rural tourism can be fragmented into different sections or into different other types of forms that we discussed, like agri-tourism, farm tourism, or some types of sustainable or green tourism. So it can be very well fragmented. Then there is an external market also needed. The rural tourism will definitely need the support of the government also and of the external market also, that will be able to help the rural destination to grow and prosper. Then we have cooperation needed between internal and external market. Both the supplier and the potential customers have to come together, and then only the rural destination will be a big hit, or it will be really prospering as a rural destination. Otherwise, if everybody works in isolation and there's no support, then definitely there would not be a possibility of having a good rural destination. Role of women is also very prominently seen in rural tourism. All the women get empowered and they work together for promoting their rural destinations, and they do some type of handicraft, maybe they display some type of authentic or ethnic cookings, they even display their clothes, they even try to tell about what culture they are living. So these are all types of women empowerment that one can see when a lady is involved or woman is involved in rural destinations. Then economic role, of course, the side income for the farmers and also the other entrepreneurs in the rural areas will be very financially supported, and they will have lot of support in terms of finance from the government as well as from the revenue. So this is also one of the very important characteristics, that the economic roles will increase and there will be lot of fund flow for the rural destinations. Now, there are certain issues and challenges also when we talk about the rural tourism. So there are the major issues and challenges of rural tourism is that there has to be environment taken into account, that we cannot harm the natural resources. Sometimes it happens that this is in the natural setup, but a tourist comes and negatively impact the natural resources. We should not do that. We need to have a proper education done in that regards, so that we can really preserve the environment. Then there should be a proper understanding for both the tourist and the local people. Both of them should understand that we have to work together, and let us do it very sustainably, that we are able to give the results even for the future generations. And the need to generate a democratic movement is also a challenge at times. We need to really make the participation of everybody at a same page and same level, so that everybody feels important and they do contribute in the development of a rural destination. Then some important issues and challenges can be, there can be some economic leakages wherein the funds cannot flow proper, or there can be in between some frauds. There can be local price inflation. If a destination is very economic, but just because the tourists started coming, the price or the local price inflation takes place at that particular destination, and that particular rural destination is now creating a problem for the local or the natives also, because every price of the commodity or of the destination has gone high. So that can also be one issue or a challenge. Then there is also a distort at times of a local employment culture or a structure, that the local employment structure is basically deteriorated, and not everybody gets employed, and not everybody is getting that same share. Then there are certain seasonal patterns of demands also, that rural tourism may be like it's operating good in between for 6 months, and then suddenly something happens and it is not performing good, or some maybe natural disasters happen, or something like some landslides happen in the hilly rural areas. So for that reason it will depend on the seasonal patterns also. So it will not be relishing throughout the year round, or it will not have a good business throughout the year. Now we will talk about rural tourism development. This is very important, that to have a good destinations or to promote rural tourism, we should really work on rural tourism development. And this is not at all a new concept. This has been really into practice from 1990s. The rural tourism development have been in increase from 1990s, and even it is till date it is an evolving phenomena. So lot of things have been done for this, and lot of government is also trying very hard, and even the natives and even the tourist is showing lot of interest to develop a local tourist or a local rural tourist destinations, and resulting to rural developments. According to the researchers and the philosophers also, Long and Lane has said that rural tourism has moved to its second phase of development now, and they are telling that they have lot of categorizations and growth in terms of participation, in terms of product developments, and also lot of partnerships are being seen when it comes to rural tourism destinations development. Now also rural tourism development has been driven by the need for economic growth. Now gone are the days when we are not focusing or we are ignoring the rural segment of our population or of the geographical areas. Now today we are trying to really focus on the development of the rural tourism, because end of the day it will really support as an economic growth. And also the tourist potentials are having lot of diversities, that they have a belief now that they do not want to go in these setups which are very urban. So there is lot of demand also from their end, which is definitely affecting, or we can say positively affecting, the growth of destination, and the rural destinations are prospering. This is all about the rural tourism development. So with this we come to the end of the session, and I hope you enjoyed and had some learning outcome. Thank you so much.